morning. Welcome all of you to this session of Savitri summarization. Here we are going to take the very interesting topic that is on the kingdoms of the little life. So the topic it is actually book 2 canto 4 of Savitri. In this session of Savitri summarization we are going to take on the topic on the kingdoms of the little life. So already we have taken couple of topics and we are in the processing. We are adventuring into book 2 and step by step. And of course, it is only we are going to get the summarization and the gist here in the quotes it beautifully. A quivering, trepidant, uncertain world born from that dolorous meeting and eclipse appeared in the emptiness where her feet had trod. So trident, quivering, trepidant, uncertain world we are going to discuss here. So we'll read little bit on this topic, how this has been gloriously described by Sri Aurobindo. It is a hesitating and unsure world. First, Sri Aurobindo quotes, it is a hesitating and unsure world that slowly comes into being where life meets matter. Slowly comes into being where life meets matter. Again, there is a stir of the force of a veiled consciousness. There is a stir of force, stirring of the force of a veiled consciousness which is involved in the inconscience. In the inconscience, there is a veiled consciousness that is stirring. Because in the inconscious there was a consciousness but in veiled position that is now stirring. It struggles to find itself naturally because it is hid deep in the inconscience. So it struggles to find itself and find a hold on things. So there is a great struggle because this consciousness is deep hidden inside the inconscience. This world breathes and strives between the pain of earth below and the bliss of heaven above. Already we know we are moving through the stairs to the grades, to the paths towards the top. So as we are moving up, there is actually we can find the world bridges and stripes between the pain of earth below. Two things are there. Here on the earth there is pain, and on the heaven there is bliss. This world is actually hanging in between bridges and stripes. From which life has fallen. Originally from heaven the life has fallen. It is inside on the earth it is a struggling painful, and so this earth is hanging between this world bridges and stripes between the two. Number one, pain of the earth below, on the top, on the top we can find the bliss of heaven, from which actually the life has fallen. So this is a good, but actually it is an unsure world, uncertain world. Against your in the course, the hunger of the life force is added to the hunger of the earth. Hunger of the earth force is added to the hunger of the earth, and there is a great unrest. There is a great, because uncertain world, unsure world, and there is a great unrest which expresses itself as a ceaseless craving in men. So there is unrest, unsurety, and a ceaseless craving in man. That is the hunger of the life force added to the hunger of the earth. For that only. With the advent of life, when the life has got its advent, with the advent of life, all repose is gone. With the advent of life, all repose is gone. Man is seized with desire with a passion for what he has not. So already we know the life is fallen, it has come down, and here with the advent of life, actually two things has been added to the man's life. Man is seized with desire, and the second, we can find here with a passion for what he has not, but actually he is desiring for the person. Otherwise he could have stayed content with plants and animals. Because he has the passion, he has the desire, so he has exceeded the limits of the plants and animals, and because he is unhappy, thus he aspires. Because he is unhappy, he aspires, he seeks and progresses. That is the major cause we can find. Because he is unhappy, at least he aspires, seeks and progresses. He explores life not without and turns to explore it from within. So this exploration is both in two ways. One is within and one is without. He builds up mind and self naturally by mind self in being and grows into the master of the nature of whom he was the prisoner of initially he was the prisoner. Now itself he is trying to aspire. He was a deep hid deep within, and he is aspiring, he is seeking, and he is also exploring both within and without to turn onto this greater world. Again, Sri Aurobindo has quoted, when life enters into matter, matter was there, life is entering into matter, she exerts pressure and compels the unconscious force of matter to emerge. Because as there was no life at all, so there was nothing. When life enters into the matter, it compels the unconscious force of matter to emerge. This is the general awakening here in the course. This is the general awakening and sensation come to be. In the absence of thought, instincts guides the movement. That is the problem. In the absence of thought, actually some instinct is there that guides the movement. Life brings the compulsion to move. That is when life actually emerged in matter, and there came an awakening. There is a compulsion to move and to move, to grow and spread herself slowly, searching and realizing the innate bliss that is lost. So it is a great thing we can see. As it was, the matter was there was nothing. When the life entered inside, so there was a compulsion to move, to grow, to spread herself slowly, searching to realize her innate bliss that she has lost. So that is the thing. And of course we are going to read few lines, not more, only few lines we are going to quote from Sri Aurobindo's original Savitri while in the process of our discussion. Sri Aurobindo quotes in him matter wakes from its long obscure trance. In him matter wakes from its long obscure trance. In him earth feels the Godhead drawing near. So he is awake to the invisible. He has arisen from through the greatness and to discontent. So letters here in the course beautifully. A groping consciousness in a voiceless world, a guideless sense was given her for her road. Then Sri Aurobindo again quotes beautifully and of course compares in a very interesting manner. Sri Aurobindo quotes here. A foundling of the gods she wanders here. A foundling of the gods she wanders here, ascending slowly with the unconscious steps, like a child soul left near the gates of hell, fumbling through fog in search of paradise. This is a great description Sri Aurobindo has described. Like a child soul left near the gates of hell, hell, a child soul is left naked alone, fumbling through fog in search of paradise. And again we can find there is a contradiction of our divine birth. Mr. Arvind quotes, he saw the original seed, the separate birth of a dethroned, deformed and suffering power. Here everything already we have discussed, everything is packed with suffering. He saw the original seed, the separate birth of a dethroned, deformed and suffering power, an unhappy face of falsity made true. A contradiction of our divine birth, indifferent to the beauty and to light. So this is the thing we can find in the process of our discussions here in the writes. So a darkness clung to her uneffaced by light. A darkness clung to her life and uneffaced by light. There neared no touch redeeming from above. Then again, the adventure in the dangerous fields of time hardly she availed, wallowing to bear and live. So naturally there is, you can find the dangerous field there. Inside that dangerous field there is actually adventure. Anyway, we are going for the next phase. We'll see this dangerous world. Here we can find life into matter. There is impulsion to emerge. So there is the whole creation that is tiring, and there is of course for compulsion to move, to grow, to spread like this. Then what happens? Ashwapati follows the course taken by life. Ashwapati follows the course taken by life and traces her obscure start on earth, where is close to death and the night of innocence. So this is the near to the close to earth is the death and the night of innocence, and this course is leading. She uses death for the own survival. That is the major thing. She uses death for her own survival. Here is the nadir of her fall. So this death, inside death, life is actually struggling. This is actually the nadir of the fall. Again, here where life starts her career in matter, because in matter there is actually emergence of the life, that the life enters in, and of course there emerges the adventure starts. Career in matter, Ashwapati finds that no solid ground to stand upon. No solid ground is there. It is not at all found where he can stand. No meaningful movement, no solid ground, no meaningful matter also. So these things are actually, it is vanished, it is not seen. All is tentative, nothing certain. Forms are awakening, forms are making, and when they are shaped, there is impact between form and the form, resulting into the outbreak of sense and instinct. So these things, it is seen, forms are a making, just on it is in the making stage, and there is outbreak of the sense and the instinct. Forces, after the forms we can find the forces. What happens? Forces class, there is a general struggle for survival. That is the second point. So forms, actually there are outbreak of sense from sense and instinct. Second, we can find class, forms, forces class, and there is general struggle and survival. Then again we can find sensations, feelings appear and disappear. That is the another thing. Sensations and feeling, they appear and disappear. All seems to be a vain agitation. Form we can find, forces we can find, later sensations, feelings, and that appear and disappear, all seems a vain agitation, where we can find it. Later phase, in the latter phase we find, but Ashwapati sees a purpose behind the seeming uselessness. Everywhere you can find strife, struggle, actually unsafety, everything that grayness. But still then Sri Aurobindo finds this seeming behind, a purpose actually there is behind all seeming uselessness. A work being done, that is second thing, in spite of all the apparent aimlessness. Something is being done, that is a great thing. A force has been released from the dense sleep of matter. There comes a force, it is a beautiful thing, a force that is released from the dense sleep of matter and the domain of life. There is actually again slow emergence of the consciousness. That is another thing, that a consciousness, but actually it is emerging slowly from the veil of the science. Again, all move under the irresistible search for their change and for the manifestation of what is concealed. So this force, this actually we can find a force from the dense sleep of matter into the domain of life. Again, slow emergence of consciousness from the veil of nescience, all under the irresistible urge for change, for the manifestation of what is concealed. It has to be revealed, for that actually struggle is there. Again, Sri Aurobindo quotes beautifully. He traces the course of this incessant movement to the source, from where he becomes aware of the presence of a creative force. Finally, this struggle, this suffering, this force, this consciousness, after these things, after this realization, Sri Aurobindo finds the presence of a creative power, presence of a creative power which seeks to manifest in the spirit in matter. So this creative power, whose function is to manifest, seeking to manifest the spirit in matter, the soul in the body, second case, the soul in the body, through the intermediacy of life. So this is there is a creative power, Sri Aurobindo, in spite of all these things, creative power which is actually working, seeking to manifest the spirit in matter and the soul in the body through on the intermediacy of life. Life is actually here intermediacy. Behind this power is the play of the God's delight. So another thing we can find here, that is the play of the God's delight in the creation, in the manifestation. So this is the another plane. First, the presence of a creative power, who is seeking to manifest spirit and matter and soul in the body through intermediacy of the life. Second, behind this power, behind this creative power, there is play of God's delight of creation in manifestation. The basic delight is at the this basic delight is at the root of all movements of the body, the life force, the mind towards joy and the bliss. That is the problem, that is the thing we can find, that creative power is there, God's delight is there, that power is there. So all these basic delight, its function is it is at the root of all movements of the body and the life force and the mind towards the joy and bliss. Whether by the aggregation or by devouring, the life seeks to multiply into delight. Anyway, the process are two processes there, by aggregation and second by devouring. Anyway, the life seeks to multiply itself into delight. And later here in the course, Ashwapati watches here the first attempt of the will to delight, another will to delight to effectuate itself. So there is a will to delight that has to be effectuated, and the handicaps are imposed by the very obscure nature of the matter in which it has the function. The function has to be there in the obscurity, but there is a will to delight. Sri Aurobindo could find it. Again, however, through these persistent efforts with all these clumpings, nether force on it, the imprisoned consciousness it emerges little by little. In spite of these powers, through this creative power, the play of delight, though there is will to delight, everything is there. So with these impulsions, you can find imprisoned consciousness emerges a little by little. Number one, emerges, gathers itself and begins to look upward. So there is the change is there, you can find. Student has quoted beautifully. When the creative spirit plunged at the culmination of the devolution of the into nescience, devolution into the nescience, all could have been lost, but the special descent of the Supreme Being of Satchidananda into the native void, and the descent which resulted in striking the charge of being into the void, striking the charge of the being into void, of a conscious force into nescience, of delight into pain. So beautiful description it has. This contradiction forms the basic of life in the creation. Why? Everything was there. Sri Aurobindo tries to explain why this has been, there is a fall, there has been a devaluation. When the creative spirit plunged at the culmination of the devolution into the nescience, when this already we have discussed, four things came, that the truth came, here falsehood, light, here is darkness, and superconscience from above it has become nescience, immortality, it is here from top it has here, it is as death. So this culmination of devolution into the nescience all would have been lost, but for the special descent of the Supreme Being of Satchidananda. For that, actually one special being of Satchidananda, it was sent for this descent, for the Satchidananda into the negative void, a descent which resulted in striking emerged being into the void. It actually shapes void of the conscious force into nescience, and of delight into pain. This contradiction forms the basic of life in this creation. Contradiction you can find. This starts slow aeons game of hide and seek. So this game, it is otherwise Sri Aurobindo has described it is a hide and seek between the hidden soul and obscure nature. That is game of hide and seek we can find between the hidden soul inside and obscure nature. Across the successive stages of the evolution, it continues till the mind is struggling. The struggling energy of nature emerges into the wider fields of consciousness to meet the being face to face. So this is going on. There is impulsion. There is actually a force is there behind it. So you can find so that mind should is struggling. Mind, the struggling energy of nature, emerges into the wide fields of consciousness to meet the being face to face. That is the thing. Mind has to emerge. It has to come out, and it emerges as with the into the wider fields of consciousness to meet the being here face to face. Again, Ashwapati regards a mighty spirit concealed in nature. It is there. A mighty spirit concealed is in nature. It is found. He feels the response of matter. Again, first, he can regard it. Second, he feels the regards of matter to the breath of the soul. Then sees the slow birth of a great force and follows its own growth. So, step by step, Ashwapati can glimpse the mighty spirit concealed in nature. Second, he feels the response of matter to the breath of the soul. Third, sees the soul birth of a great force and follows the course of growth. So this is the possible, this concealment, actually it is coming out and there is the process of growth. After the weak tentative beginnings of the life in the domain of matter, after the weak and tentative beginnings of the life in domain of matter, Ashwapati sees the more definitive play of the waking life. Here it was just a beginning. Here later previously it was just a beginning. There was a star. Now itself in the domain of matter he can find the play of the waking life. Life takes strange forms in which thinking sense begin to function. Strange function stage way we can find a sensational order of the life's creation comes into existence. Sensational order of the life creation. So it is coming to existence in the forms of the insect, the small and the bigger animals, insect, python, then actually dragon, then mastodon, and the mammal, and a small human being. So we can find here there is emergence of the sensational order of the life creation. You can find the creation from top to bottom. You can find in the initially insect, then you can find smaller and bigger animals, then python, then dragon, then mastodon, then mammal, and finally we can find small human beings that also appear. Again, in man, they are actually lower beings. In man, nature arrives at the high point. So when it is a coming, nature into the human being mind, man, nature arrives at the high point in the evolutionary level and take new stage in the growth of the consciousness, with nature becoming self-aware in man. Entire of comparing to the insect, python, dragon, mammals and all. So there is this man is getting developed. Evolution is actually advancing forward. He is at the high point of evolutionary level. A new stage of the growth of consciousness begins with nature, becoming self-aware in man. So again, in the animal creation around the man, this is the man, then actually we can find a animal creation around man. However, the play of consciousness is perceived in the reactions of the creatures to impacts from the outside. So this life is driven by some need. Animal we can find driven for some need. The little mind we have seen, that looks upon the environment as hostile, and it is primarily a sense mind which can't think of its own. Sense mind which can, in animal especially, so it can't think anything of its own. It is actually sense mind. Against here in the code, even in man at this stage, when unevolved or not much evolved in the preliminary stage, so sense mentality again, it is actually governs. They live from moment to moment, drawing as much joy from the nature So this is the initial phase. So we can find joy from the nature as possible. The pleasures, initially joy from nature. The pleasures of the body, second, through matter in them. Thought and reflection are not yet. That is the criteria, right? Because it is only initial development from the python and all mammals. It is the initially preliminary man. They are actually solely occupied guarding themselves in the hostile world dominated by the death. That is the another program, because this is only the preliminary concept. There is actually small physical life built upon the limited association for the self-interest and for the rest, unlimited slaughter and the plunder. So this is the very beginning of so communities, class and war. There is actually you can find not much development. You can find class and strife and war, hostile and dominated by death. Physical life is has limited association for self-interest, and you can find the sense mentality. Joy is very limited, and the pleasure of the body from the matter he tries to gain upon. So these are the major points with the initial man, actually, because it is he thought still then he is superior to these all these beings who are around him, but thing is a little bit, but he is not at all that much developed, because just from the bestiality, from the beasthood, it is emerging and trying to come forward again through this wrestle of life. It is going on in the preliminary stage. All life grows faculties of the concealed consciousness. Entire life, it is going and emerging towards the concealed consciousness, instinct, memory. We can find some of the term, beautiful term here. So in the course here, all life grows the faculties of the concealed consciousness, the consciousness that is actually concealed. Instinct, memory, adaptive skill, and the form themselves as the way to self-discovery. After this animality, bestiality, there is actually a point forward, a step forward towards self-discovery. At this stage, however, the evolving life has not yet developed. Again, it is a beautiful thing. Still, it is not yet developed. This evolving life not yet developed in the mind proper. What functions in the life mentality, mind involved in search of the joy of existence, labor to build suitable embodiment for the rapture of sense, it is predominant. Actually, the purpose is hidden. At least he has emerged from the bestiality, but actually he is struggling, trying to search for the joy of existence, labor to build suitable embodiment for the rapture of the senses, and that these are the permanent and predominant things. Next, finally, Ashwapati sees a third order of the life creation. Third order. First order we have seen from the how it has been developed from the bestiality. Second, we can feel little bit actually trying to move forward with evolving life. Of course, not completed, but life mentality, involvement, self joy for existence. It is there. In the third phase, in the next stage, we can see Ashwapati sees a third order of creation. The mind proper is under the formation of the result of the pressure from mind plane. Mind proper we can find under the pressure of mind plane. Thought begins second. Thought is actually beginning to enlighten act. So first it was almost a just preliminary animal kind. There second time you can find little bit development. Third you can find the mind proper. It is pressure from the mind plane. You can find pressure from the mind plane. Then thought begins to enlighten act. These great thoughts are coming. So here Sri Aurobindo tries to come to the initial very interesting field. Sri Aurobindo in his own line. At first the mind power works engulfed in the flow of embodied life. At first, in the beginning, mind power works engulfed in the flow of embodied mind. There is no overthinking, sensations and feelings, willings or desires around, nothing is there. Gradually, a seeing power gathers their confused movements around the limitations point of the awareness and the forces of life currents to flow into form and shape. and the fashion life mind in creatures. So initially mind power, actually it was engulfed. Further we can find the emergence and of course elevation and evolution of this power, mind power, which actually gradually the seeing power gathers their confused movements. It gathers up around the one luminous point of awareness and forces the current to flow into the form and shape and fashion life mind in creatures. Then life assures herself by building walls of safety against the siege of death. Initially, we have seen there is fear of death and all, but in towards the development, while life adventures on, life assures herself by building walls of safety against the siege of death. Knowledge begins to hear against the siege of death life actually trying to build up. Then actually we can find knowledge begins to move in the field of science. And the third, the soul, we can find the soul takes a definite existence in the form. So these things actually there is actually being. Life assures herself by the building walls of safety against the siege of death. Life. Second, knowledge begins to move in the field of science. Third, the soul takes a definite existence in form. Then a restricted intelligence begins to act. Restricted intelligence here in the course because it is from the confines it is emerging out. A region functions, then actually region functions in the mood of the habitual nature. So there comes another thing that is actually region. So again, thought moves in within narrow groups of the segmented life thought came. In its range and the vision, this thought, however, restricted to the parts but aspects, actually mistakes is for the whole, at least something is done. The mind still is the shape of the body. That is the greater criteria because mind still it is found, mind we can still find it, we can find mind still the slave of the body. So towards the concluding part, we can find out of this small obscure feeling, small obscure beginning, then mind grows into the gleam of clarity through enclosed mass of ignorance. Mind emerges. So this is led by the slender thinking power. Again mind, then with the power, empowered with the thinking power, slender thinking power, life continuous monotonous play, tied to her ground, running her common rounds. So there is actually movement, there is growth, there is elevation, something is going on. The nature and the scope of her play in her world does not change as it does in the earth world. So there is lacuna problem. So life and the scope, nature and the scope of her play in the own world does not change as it is expected. For her own world is set to a type, fixed in its mood, not governed by the law of evolution and change. So these are the limitations you can find here. Let us first try to quote few lines from Savitri because it is already time for us. Anyway, few lines we will try to quote. He saw a purpose in the works of time. In that aimlessness, even in that aimlessness, a work was done. Further, we can find the glorious lines from the writings of Savitri in his own language. We'll try to quote it here. God's force turned into a child's helplessness. Bliss changed into sorrow, knowledge made ignorant. So, if the being had not changed into the dark, carrying with it the triple mystic cross. So, these are the change we can find. He faced himself itself with its own character, contraries. Beings became the void and conscious of force. Nescience and work of a blind energy and ecstasy took the figure of world pain. Again, we can find something very interesting and very gloriously we can find. A mind was there that made the objective world as if a stranger or enemy at its door. Again, only but to the outward only they where they arrive alive. Only they reply to the touches and surfaces and to the prick of need that drove their lives. Something like in the coma state. A body that knew not its own soul within, totally unaware, They are lived and longed, had a wrath and a joy and a leap, unknown, unconscious, likely living things are going on. Life had for them no aim save nature's joy. No aim, only save nature's joy. And identified with the spirit's outward self, they worked for the body's wants, they craved no more. Only within the confines of the body they were active. Sri Aurobindo quotes beautifully then again. We can find in the latter part of the discussion because it is already time. Only she had bitten out sparks of ignorance. Only the life could think and not the mind. Mind is not thinking, only life could think. Only the sense could feel, not the soul. Only was lit some great, some heat of the flame of life. That's what we have already seen and quoted. Again, after later on, we can find few lines, few glorious and gorgeous lines from Sri Aurobindo's description. An animal limited by a feeding space, it knew not the immortal in his house. It had no greater, deeper cause of life, cause to live. Why it is living, what is this magnanimity? It is not actually known to him. Not he is not aware. A little joy and knowledge satisfied, this little being tied into a knot and hung on the balls of its environment, a little curve cut out in the measureless space, a little span of life in all vast time. So all the littleness, everything, even an illusion gave up fixity, but it, beautiful image is given as if a sea could serve a farm soil. Towards the concluding part, we can see out of a slow, confused, embroiled self-search, mind grew to a clarity cut out, precise. A gleam enclosed in storm ignorance you can find. Life was a play monotonously the same. There was no vast perspective of the spirit, monotonously the same. There was no vast perspective of the spirit, no swift invasions of the unknown delight, no golden distances of wide release. You can find all are confined, unsatisfied. Then, in the end, Sri Aurobindo quotes, a little light in a great darkness born. Life knew not where it went or whence it came. Around all floated still the nascent gates. So, within these confines, these limits, life grew satisfied without knowing its greatness and aim. Anyway, this is a great story. This is a great chapter. This is a great description, and we are at least knowing things how the emergence of life, this evolution, how this evolutionary work counts and works. So these are the great point of the notation we can find. Now itself it is time to stop. We will start something in the next topic of discussion in Savitri summarization. Thank you. Bande Mataram.